Well, it was mixed fortunes, wasn't it, for Liverpool and Manchester City in the Champions League last night. 8 more games this evening as this season's group stage concludes. Manchester United, already confirmed winners of Group F, welcome young boys to Old Trafford. Barcelona, will they need a win in Munich to guarantee their qualification? We'll be covering that game for you later. But first, our focus is with the early kickoffs in Group H. Juventus welcome Malmö to Turin, while defending European champions Chelsea are in St. Petersburg, only needing to match Juve's result to finish top of the group after a 4-0 win over the Old Lady at the Bridge last time out.
Always a big occasion when Juventus come to town. Bouncing around dangerously, and there is the goal. ᴍᴏᴀ! What a moment for the youngster on his first Champions League start. James, we know he can hit them, and how? He can hit them! Brilliant from Reece James! Loftus-Cheek turning, twisting, surely another one! Yes! It's ᴍᴏᴀ! James, look at that. Oh, it's a pretty bad mistake by McKennie, and Werner makes it 4. Chelsea tonight have been rampant. 4-0. It's the heaviest Champions League defeat Juventus have ever had.
Well, let's put tonight into context then. Chelsea and Juventus both already qualified with 12 points. Thomas Tuchel's side only have to match Juve's result against Malmö to finish top of Group H as a result of a better head-to-head record against the Italians. Well, here we are in the big studio on a big night in the Champions League with a couple of big hitters as well. Peter Crouch, Joe Cole, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. So let's talk Chelsea. How important is it, Joe, for them to top the group tonight?
I think it's very important. All the big names that you got out there, and I think the psychological thing of topping the group, I think that really benefits you going in. Any one of you playing the last 16 of the Champions League is going to give you their own problems, whether it be a PSG, any of the other big guys. So I think it's psychological for Chelsea. Bad result at the weekend, bounce back, and the lads, but the team he's picked, this looked like he's, we don't know Chelsea's best 11. He constantly rotates it, so all of them are world class, and Chelsea will be going for the win. Yeah,
he does like to make changes, doesn't he? We'll show you the teams in a moment. But Peter, is tonight just about momentum more than anything because of that defeat that they suffered at the weekend to West Ham?
Yeah, it's just about getting back on track, I think. Thomas Tuchel, since he's come in, been an absolute revelation. This is the first sort of, I don't even want to say bump in the road, it's the first sort of rocky period. The last few games haven't been to the level that they've played at since he's come in.
Why do you think that is, Peter?
Well, in all honesty, I think they've had a few injuries. I think Kovacic taking Kante out of that midfield is a huge issue. But looking at this game at West Ham, it was individual errors. That back pass from Jorginho was not great at all. Put Mendy, bang in trouble. He should get rid of it. There's a few individual errors that cost them, and let's be honest, West Ham's a difficult place to go to at the moment.
They are flying this season, aren't they? How did you feel when you watched this game, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, listen, West Ham were very, very good. Chelsea, this was the first time under Tuchel where they've been individual errors have cost them, and the system has not been able to drag them out where they find a goal. You had Lukaku coming on in the second half, didn't make much of an impact. But to get beaten by a goal like this, it ain't the end of the world. It's just a case of, like Crouchy said, Kovacic and Kante coming out of the midfield. I think there's and they're mixing up. Loftus-Cheek's been outstanding when he's come in, but they've not had a settled run of players the last few weeks, and they got punished at West Ham at the weekend.
Well, we mentioned the team. This is the starting 11 for today, and as expected, Thomas Tuchel has made lots of changes. In fact, he's made 8 changes to the side that suffered defeat to West Ham at the weekend. Key pointers for you is that Kepa makes his first Champions League appearance since December 2020. Sarr makes his debut for Chelsea in the Champions League, and we see Lukaku in the starting lineup for the first time since that injury he sustained in the Malmö game at Stamford Bridge on October the 20th. Let's talk about the goalkeeper, Kepa. Surprised to see him in that 11?
I'm surprised. I mean, Thomas Tuchel would have had a decision to make because Mendy was the first time he's made mistakes at the weekend. So you have to consider his mindset, because goalkeepers and outfield players, Crouchy will say as well, when you have a bad game, you want to get the next game to get it out of your system. So he's obviously would have had to consider that. Also, with the African Nations Cup coming up, Kepa needs games. He needs to feel part of it. Every time he's come in, he's stepped up. So he was a hero in the Super Cup. He's been fantastic. He's penalty shootouts. So it's an interesting one by Thomas Tuchel. He's had to balance all of them up. There's no doubt Kepa's a top goalkeeper. This man is the record transfer fee, so there is a lot of talent in him. Obviously hasn't worked how he'd liked, but every time he's come on, since he's been the second goalkeeper, when he's been called upon, it's always done brilliantly.
Yeah, he has, and actually you make a really good point about the African Cup of Nations, because of course Mendy playing for Senegal, he'll be out of the team for that period of time. How important is it for Kepa to have some game time?
Yeah, no, I think that's important. I agree with Joe though. Like if you're Mendy and you've had a game like you did against West Ham, you just want to play and get it out of your system. And I think Chelsea would want him to play and get it out of the system. But it's a good point about the African Cup of Nations. They're going to have to do without him at some stage, because he's been a revelation, to be honest, as well, hasn't he? He's been class since he's come in. He's been, he's pulled off some great saves. I think he's been good with his feet. It was the first sort of game against West Ham that I've seen him be quite shaky. So Kepa will come in and he's a confident lad, as you know, Joe. So I mean, he'll be looking to get that jersey.
And I know the Chelsea fans will be delighted to see Lukaku in the starting 11, back from that injury, of course, he sustained in October.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nasty one, Seema. We was at the game,
yeah,
and he's come back in and he's done okay when he's come on. I think it was interesting, Thomas Tuchel's interview at the weekend, when he said Romelu needs to understand that he needs to get match fit and when the time's right. So obviously Lukaku's been chomping at the bit to play, and Thomas Tuchel's bided his time, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, build him up, and now you release him. And so he'll be hungry. And I think just before he got injured, he needs to keep doing a bit more of this, holding the ball up. Crouchy was the master at this, and I think this is what he's added to his game.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you play a different way, I think, when you play with Lukaku. I mean, he's a traditional centre forward, and I think if you've got to play to his strengths, and I think Chelsea found that slightly difficult at times, I think, this season, because when Havertz has come in, they've been more fluid, I think, at times. But with Lukaku, I think if you play to his strengths, he's a world-class centre-forward, and, he can beat people, he's got pace to run in behind. I think this is obviously his big strength. When he's backing into the defenders, he can feel them and he can roll them. Obviously, the finish wasn't quite there on that occasion, but that's his game, and I think if you can get into his feet, he can spin people, and obviously he's going to score goals. He's a world-class finisher, and he's proved that.
I mean, my next question to you now is, have they actually missed him? You look at those numbers there, and they would suggest that they have obviously performed better without him. But I don't know, is that unfair? No,
it is unfair, because the games without him, there was 7-0 drubbing of Norwich in that without him. It's just misleading, them stats. Look, but Romelu himself will tell you he's performed before he was injured. He wasn't at the level we've seen him at. Yeah. That's not a problem. Footballers are not robots, they're humans. He needs to come back now. There's a busy Christmas period coming up, which I think will suit him, because he wants to get back to his level. So when you get back to your level, you need games. There's so many games coming up. So he needs to just concentrate on his game. And like I said, it gives Chelsea such a focal point. Yeah. I'd love to have played with him as a midfielder, because you can bounce it off him, you can drop it in behind, you can put a half-decent cross in, he makes it a good one. He's a fantastic player, and I think this has been a restart for his Chelsea career.
OK, well, kick-off in St Petersburg is not too far away now. Thomas Tuchel, of course, will be hoping that his side can get back to winning ways after defeat to West Ham at the weekend, a win against Zenit in the Champions League tonight, and Chelsea will be into the last 16 as winners of Group H. The pre-match thoughts from the Bayern and Barcelona coming up later, and it's a big one for Xavi, isn't it, as he takes charge of his beloved Barca, needing a win in Munich to guarantee his side's place in the round of 16. Kick-off is coming up at 8 o'clock. But before that, our focus is in St Petersburg, with Chelsea hoping to clinch top spot in Group H. And as always, Thomas Tuchel has made plenty of changes to his starting 11. 8 changes. We see Kepa in the starting 11, making his first Champions League appearance since December 2020. Sarr also steps into the starting lineup, making his Champions League debut for Chelsea. And Chelsea fans will be delighted to see that man there in the mix. Lukaku makes his first start for Chelsea since October the 20th. Well, here is the Chelsea boss who's been speaking to 광ᴏᴛ.
Thomas, good to see you as always. Look, you've made 8 changes to the side that lost to West Ham, starting from Kepa in goal all the way through to Romelu Lukaku up front and in the midfield as well. Just talk us through those changes, because there are a lot of them today.
Well, I cannot talk you through all 8 changes, but in general we need fresh legs, because we We want to play a high-intensity game. We want to play on the level that we are used to play. We want to play a high rhythm, and for this we need fresh legs. The game today is not so much the problem. We had a day off after West Ham. We had 2 days to prepare. The team looked fresh. But we have to consider that we play away. We have a late arrival in Thursday morning, and we will lose sleep and have the next game on Saturday. So it's the moment to change. It's a moment to trust other players and to push them, because we don't want to manage our games. We wanna play on high intensity level, and for this we need fresh legs.
You're looking at your central midfield. Look, Ruben Loftus-Cheek had started your last 3 games. Is this again because you want fresh legs? Because Ross Barkley and ⴍᴏ haven't necessarily played together very often.
Well, or never. Like I said, it was possible to start with Ruben again, but we need to also to consider that Ruben maybe played in the last years, never 3 consecutive matches, and not on the intensity level and not over 90 minutes like he did now for us. He's very, very strong, but we miss ᴍᴏ. ᴍᴏ is injured, Kovacic is injured, N'Golo is injured. We cannot risk at the moment. It's very likely that Ruben will finish the game for us, but the option is for the last 30 minutes.
Very good news, though, up front is the return of Romelu in the starting lineup. How good is it to have him back?
We need all our players back, and there's unfortunately too many injured still, too many key players. Romelu is back, Timo gets some minutes, Romelu gets minutes in his legs, and let's see how long he can play. But this is crucial to us, of course, because we need everybody fit, and we need everybody in shape, and Rom worked hard for it, and is missing rhythm in the games, he's missing game minutes, and that's why he starts today.
Thomas Tuchel talking about why he's made so many changes, 8 changes to this starting 11. And of course, he talks about needing fresh legs. Of course, he has a number of injuries in the side. But the key news is that Kepa, Sarr and Lukaku are back in the starting lineup. And I guess it's really paramount that for any manager, especially managing through the festive period where the games come thick and fast, Peter, that they manage the squad properly.
Yeah, of course. I think everyone's doing it. I think it's the strength of the English clubs that they can afford to do that in the Champions League. We've watched Liverpool do it last night, Manchester City as well. They've qualified early enough for them to be able to do that, and they can manage the situation, ready for a tough Premier League schedule around Christmas. We've both played in that schedule. It's it is tough, but you are going to have to use your squad. So some of the players tonight, like Kepa and ᴍᴏ and Barkley especially, will get a chance to impress and hopefully play in some of those games.
Well, football fans absolutely love this period, don't they? Lots and lots of football games. What about for the players? Did you enjoy playing during this busy period?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I mean, especially Christmas. I think it was nice. I think you leave the Christmas dinner and you get there and you get excited for a game, and so many games thick and fast. And I love football, so it was always a good time of year for me. But it's interesting. He's had a look at his squad. He mentioned Loftus-Cheek not playing 3 games in a week, so he's been so important the last few weeks. He's come out. You've also got to look after Thiago Silva. He's 37. Pulisic, he's had injury. You've got to look after him. So he's taken a gamble, I suppose, but you still got a core quality of all international footballers on the pitch. Like Crouchy said, it's the strength of the Premier League, because we have got the ability to change our whole team and still have probably the superior side on the pitch. But the travel comes into it, the weather. The players coming in haven't played, so it does make the game a little bit of intrigue and a bit of jeopardy in it. Petersburg will be licking their lips at the team because they think we could have a chance, but I still fancy Chelsea tonight.
OK, well, Chelsea have won all 3 of their visits to Russia in the Champions League without conceding a single goal. The omens are good for the Blues, who continue their defence of their European crown tonight. Kick-off is in St Petersburg, and that's coming your way next.
Can anybody out there hear me?